Okay, I said I was gonna do a driving vlog, and I am. Late afternoon yawn. So my friend Bill is probably gonna watch this and say something about it because I'm gonna get mad during this vlog. So sorry, Bill. Um, First of all, I was a block away from my house, and Jagoff number one. It's a four-way stop. I often listen for people coming up to this four-way stop because they don't even. I can hear them, and they aren't even coming close to stopping. Like, not even. Like, this is going to be way more than a California roll. This guy. But then they see me, and then they like are like, whoa, and then they get on their brakes. This guy didn't even see me. That guy didn't even come close to stopping. This guy didn't even stop. He just drove through the intersection. And I went, wow, to him. And he didn't hear me. And you know what he was doing? He had something on his steering wheel, like a piece of paper or a map or a newspaper or something. And he was reading while he drove through this intersection without even thinking of stopping. I didn't even have anything. I don't know what I would have thrown at his car. But what if I had not seen him? What if I had I'm in my neighborhood, it's 2:30 on a Tuesday afternoon. What if I had headphones in and I just jauntily walked across that street? And what if I'm in a wheelchair now because Jagoff is reading while he's driving? Speaking of, my friend Darren is going to be learning how to drive. He's in his like 21, 22, but I guess he never got a license, and I think hopefully I'll be part of the team that will help him learn how to drive. And I am a good driver. I'm an excellent driver. And every time I say that, I feel like I'm some fucking Rain Man or something. I'm an excellent driver. But I am. I've never, knock on Mac, been in an accident. Well, actually, one time I was in a very, very small accident. And it was on my way to see my dad, who was in the hospital. So I was not in my right mind. But everything worked out fine. And I was in a rental car. But other than that, so I want to be truthful, I've never been in an accident, passenger or driver. I'm a defensive driver. I don't tailgate. I don't. I don't know. I don't take unnecessary risks. But when need be, I react well. I know how to move. I know how to swerve. I on the highway I do speed. I'm not gonna lie on that one. I think sometimes it's more dangerous to go too slow than it is to go too fast. And I pride myself on certain little things that I can do. But I think what people forget is A, that driving is a privilege, not a right. And B, even though I get nervous, we all get nervous some of us get nervous about the idea of flying. It's unnatural. We're, 35,000 feet above the earth. The fact of the matter is, when you're behind the wheel of a car, when I'm behind the wheel of a car, we have 2,000 pounds of metal that we're driving around, that we're carrying around, that we're pushing around. Death machines. I mean, you know what I mean? It doesn't take, we're soft. We're soft. And so when we're, have that much metal around us and around other people, it doesn't necessarily take much to get killed by that. So it's something to think about, that it's not, something to be used lightly. It's not something to jerk around with driving. That said, I wanted to also tell you guys about something that I did. I don't know if my dad explicitly told me this. We didn't spend a lot of time driving together. We're not good at that. We are too much alike, and I could tell you stories, but I don't have enough time. So he may have said this to me. I'm sure maybe he did. I don't know. The idea of coasting, not having to use your brakes, seeing what's coming up ahead of you, and instead of tapping your brakes all the time, getting on your brakes, racing up to someone and then having to use your brakes, tailing someone and then having to get on your brakes. Why not see what's going on up ahead of you, seeing other people getting on their brakes, and then just getting off the gas? It affects the same change. It slows the car down. Instead of manually slowing down the car by using your brakes. Now, for my father, he probably does this because he thinks he doesn't want to waste his brakes or some shit. Because my dad's fucking weird about stuff like that. He doesn't want to use his blink on. To the contrary, which is also bad for driving. To the contrary, he doesn't want to use his blinker too much, ever. Because he doesn't want to, quote unquote, waste blinks. Are you fucking serious? He doesn't want to burn out his fuse. Have you ever burned out a fuse on your blinker? What? Anyway. So, I went to a conference out in Rockford, Illinois, a couple weekends ago, Valentine's Day weekend. And I drove my friend's car home. She was tired. I said, I'll drive. I love to drive. Now, I'll be honest with you. This was remarkable. Because once we got close to the city, I thought for sure I was going to break my streak. We had an I-Pass, but going into the tolls on I-90, every time I come in there, it's crowded, it's packed, there's lines. You got to slow down. Even if you make it through the I-Pass, you come then into this merging scenario, and Cumberland going in the city, there's always just traffic. And then even if you make it through there, then you hit a couple curves, and then there's more traffic. And then even if you can make it through there, then you get to where you got to get to Irving Park. And then you got to merge I-90 and I-94. And sometimes you can make it happen, but there's traffic, you know? It's a thing. It's a scene. We leave Rockford. I'm going 80, 85 a lot of the way. And most of that trip from Rockford into, until you get closer to the Chicago suburbs is 2 lanes. It's 2 lanes. I made it from Rockford to the exit, where I had to exit Irving Park Road, without touching my brakes. There was one time I got behind this car and there was a line of cars. And I saw them get on their brakes. I let off the gas. And they still were on their brakes. And I was like, okay, here we go. I'm not getting too close. And then I started getting close. Closer than I wanted to be. And I thought, oh, fuck. I'm going to have to get on my brakes. I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to touch them. I'm going to have to get on my brakes. But I must have been slowing down enough, and they must have been ready. They got off their brakes and started to speed up again. And I managed to avoid it. I didn't have to get on my brakes. And that was the only time I thought, oh, motherfucker. Other than that, I managed it. If it did get to the point where I thought, hey, I saw people get on their brakes, I just got off the gas. Stayed in the left lane the whole time pretty much. Ran with the crowd, I thought when I got to 90 it was going to be a problem, but no. Sailed through the I-Pass. Got through Cumberland, no problem. Moved on over to the middle lane. Okay, stayed there, ran it. Got on over to the right lane. Thought, there's going to be people merging. Maybe this will be an issue. No, wasn't an issue. Okay, 90-94. How's this going to play out? It was all good. And then I'm home free. I'm in the lane, getting off at Irving Park. Well, doing like 60. Here's the ramp. Gotta hit my brakes. And then I said to my passengers, do you know what just happened? Do you know what you've experienced? You didn't know. I wouldn't have told you. You don't jinx a perfect game. You don't mess with a no-hitter in the middle of the game. But people, I just drove from Rockford to Irving Park Road without touching my brakes. And that, my friends, is a fact. I am an excellent driver.